DCn, can you briefly explain what inflation is and what it has been, rising so sharply across the world recently?
Okay, thank you for that question. And I know that this is an everyday term that we hear, or everyday word, inflation. But what is inflation? Well, in general terms, or in a simple language, I would say inflation is a general increase in prices of goods and services over a period of time. Well, we can also just put it as the economists will say, it is a general increase in price level. Most times, inflation occurs when we say too much money is chasing few goods. So too much money is chasing few goods, and when you like the basic economic principle of demand and supply. So when too much money is chasing few goods, the tendency for the prices of the goods to go up is there. And that's what we call inflation. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Thank you, sir. Yes, thank you for that explanation. So for our listeners, this means that your money isn't going as far as it used to, and you're paying more for the same things that you have always bought. So
Absolutely.
So what would you say, are the key drivers of inflation? So what are we currently experiencing?
Well, okay. For me to talk about this, Nigeria is a peculiar country. Our economy sometimes defy all basic known economic principles in the world. So in order to discuss this, why is inflation important? Because it reduces the people's purchasing power. So it erodes the value of the real income. What do I mean? In simple language, if you hold 1,000 naira, or today, your 1,000 naira today is not of the same value with your 1,000 naira, even in not too distant past, maybe like 2 years ago. So what your 1,000 naira 2 years ago could do is not what your 1,000 naira currently could do. So that means within a period of time, your real income value has been eroded. So it also makes economic planning difficult. If you go to our supermarket, so I'm just trying to bring it down to layman's language. If you go to our supermarket, you will see that they cannot even catch up with changes in prices. So what do? They don't put price tag anymore. They don't put price tag anymore. Before you even, maybe today you are changing the prices of your products, by tomorrow price has changed again. That is the peculiarity of Nigerian economy as we have it today. So, and another thing you will also observe in the period of inflation, interest rates go up. Interest rates go up. And you will see that in what CBN has been doing, the benchmark rates by CBN, which we call MPR, monetary policy rate, this year, that is just, we just had the third quarter of this year just ended a few days ago. They have raised MPR 4 or 5 times, if I'm not mistaken. I think about 5 times. It was raised in February 2024, also raised in March. It was raised in May. A few days ago, it was in September, it was also raised. So currently, MPR is around 27.25. So why are they doing that? Because you cannot have inflation higher than interest rates, because it means it's a disincentive to savings. It's a disincentive to savings. People can't save, because by the time you save, at the time you are getting back your money, what we call time value of money will have affected it, which is inflation. So by the time you are adjusting for inflation, your 10,000 naira you save is no longer 10,000 naira, even though in nominal value you have 10,000 naira.
Thank you very much. Thank you so very much. That was perfect. That was excellent. And so quickly, let's shift focus now and talk about how inflation is affecting businesses, workers, and families. So let's start with business. How business businesses being impacted by this inflation?
Okay, that's talking about the impact of inflation on
businesses,
individuals. That's you and I, and also businesses. Okay, all right. For I said it earlier. For individuals, what you experience in a period of inflation, your salary, your income, let me put it that way, your earnings remain the same, but prices of goods and services have gone up. So you are now unable to buy the same thing with the same resources. You are unable to buy the same thing with the same resources because the real value of your money has been eroded. So your purchasing power been taken off. So that leads to poverty. That is a measure of the poverty level in an economy. Then another for businesses, the major effect of inflation is their production capacity has reduced. I can give you an instance. I open because people's purchasing power has reduced. Now people will start looking for alternatives to your product. The only thing that the people will still purchase at a high cost is those products that are essentials. Essential products, those are the ones that people will still want to manage, to like food, for instance. Now food have substitutes, and the day I saw where a tuber of yam is now being divided so that people could afford it, because a tuber is now about 3,000, 4,000. Yeah. How many people can buy one tuber for 3,000, 4,000? Now they are now cutting yam into pieces to make it affordable, because you want to buy 1,000, your 1,000 naira now cannot buy one tuber. So maybe you now get a third or a quarter of a tuber for your 1,000 naira. And previously, your 1,000 naira can buy you one tuber of yam. So now, people are now looking for alternatives. If I can't eat rice, I will eat spaghetti. Possibly spaghetti is cheaper. If I can't eat yam, I will look for something close substitutes. Now, for those who are producing products that are now going up with excessive, increase in prices, and people are now shifting their loyalty of those brands, going to buy something else, close substitute. What do you expect? The capacity to produce of those businesses will also reduce because their sales have reduced. Cost of input is also affecting them, because cost of inputs, your raw materials is going up, because now with the devaluation of Naira, which is another factor, I should have mentioned that with the devaluation of Naira, it is also driving the cost of production to go up. That's cost push inflation. Now, if your raw materials are not sourced locally, or your inputs are not sourced locally, current exchange rate to a dollar is 1,710, 1,720. 1,720 naira to a dollar. Previously, it was around 400 naira, 600 naira. Before this administration took over, it was around 600 of that. So automatically, cost of inputs, cost of production will go up because cost of inputs have gone up. So now, for businesses, especially the manufacturer, for them to cope with inflation, they will now start adjusting. Either they start cutting down on quality of their products so that they can still be affordable to people, or they start reducing the quantity. I saw a pack of biscuits that used to have five slices of biscuits in the pack. Now what you find is 3. Because maybe the manufacturers, they've seen that if they increase the price beyond that level, people will stop buying. So they want to maintain the same price. Now they reduce the quantity in that pack. The same thing. I opened what's they call this product? Chivita, Chi Exotic. It looks so light. Now, what is the manufacturer trying to do? They are trying to cope with incidences and the effect of inflation, so that people can still afford it. These are some of the things you get in a period like this, and that's how it affects individuals and businesses. Another way, savings are no longer attractive, because when you consider the time value of money adjusting for inflation, people are discouraged from savings. And savings is what banks use as loanable funds for investment. Interest rate is going up. How many people can take interest? If you go to a bank now, you want to borrow funds, the minimum you will be getting will be in the neighborhood of about 35%. So how many businesses can survive on borrowed funds at that rate? So you see now, either they start reducing their production capacity, shutting down part of their plants and all that. And what do you have? They will start laying off workers. So the effect of inflation is so enormous that a country must not joke or toy with it. So I know the current administration they are doing their best to curtail it, to tame this monster affecting our economy. But, well, let's see. They are bringing in policies. Let's see how far they can go. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so very much, Deacon. Thank you so much. Yes, we've talked so much about causes and impact. But now let's get into the solutions. So, Deacon, what advice would you offer families and individuals who are trying to survive these inflationary times?
Okay, first of all, because your purchasing power is reducing as an individual, for you to cope, then first thing you do is, if it's possible, it may not be applicable to every individual. As much as it's possible, in a period of inflation, the first thing, especially with what we are experiencing in Nigeria, the first thing you do is you find a way to survive. So your survival instincts must be sharp. You find a way to survive. Now, what do I mean? Without going into criminal activities, I know that's another social effect of what we have. It's an effect of inflation. So without going into criminal activities, you can have multiple streams of income. Look for how you can sell your services. What do I mean? Maybe there are some online platforms. You may be skillful in maybe writing, in editing. You can offer yourself for such. So at your leisure time or at your spare time, you just do something else that can increase your income. Maybe you are a salary earner as an individual. You are a salary earner. Now, earning certain amount, then you can look for ways of increasing your income, maybe by doing something else during your spare time. That will help in a way, because you are trying to cope with inflation. Then another thing every individual can do is you start looking for now, because I said it's survival first. You don't go into ostentatious spending, frivolous spending. Cut down on what do not add value to you. You are throwing parties here and there. You must manage your funds. Then if it's not necessary for you to travel, don't travel. Use phone call. So cut down on your spending, because costs and prices of those things are going up. You cut down. You don't need to be on the road, so that if you have a car, if it's not important that you travel, you consume less fuel. So you find a way to reduce your costs or the way you spend. So don't spend on frivolities. These are the ways you can manage inflation within yourself as an individual. Then you start looking for close substitutes. People are now, it's expensive now, unlike before. Those who have inverters, solar inverter in their homes, they don't need, because cost of energy has also gone up. So you switch between your energy and your inverter, so that you spend less on your IBDC bills. You spend less on energy bill. So these are some of the things we can do to cope. Then you also look for substitutes to basic food items. If rice is expensive, you look for a close substitute. Yam is what's it called? You can't go close to yam. You look for sweet potato. You look for sweet potato if it's cheaper. So you just look for something that's close substitute of basic items that you consume, so that you can manage your costs, you can manage your finances reasonably. Then that's for individual. Then for businesses, I said it earlier. So you can start looking for whether you pursue product modification or because it can increase price. So start doing product modification. Then we can offer the market that the market will buy. That is, maybe it may be a byproduct of their major product that they can now sell to reduce, to increase their sales. That the sales are already dwindling, coming down. To increase their sales, they will find a way instead of losing their share of the market. These are some of the ways businesses can cushion the effect on inflation.